Keep your online purchases safe with privacy.com. Join at the link in the description and get $5 for free just for signing up. What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. So recently Riot released a new dev diary where they discussed a couple of their upcoming plans for 2019 and specifically those pertaining to new champion releases. And more specifically, I wanted to take a look at some of the upcoming champions that they talked about within the video because I think there's actually been some bits and pieces of information here and there in the past that might have some kind of hints or at least allow us to make some potentially decent guesses for what those champions are going to be. Now they did mention two champions that are going to be coming to League of Legends in the future, and the first came a mention of a new support champion that's going to be based around an enchanter, filling a support role similar to Nami where the new champion will play like a more traditional fully fledged support. However, later after the new support's release, they're also planning a new assassin champion. Now, they didn't really release much information about the Assassin Champion, which kind of causes it to spike my interest a lot more than the Support Champion, because Riot has already talked quite a lot about the basics of what he or she or it might be for that character, but the Assassin on the other hand was essentially completely left in the dark and they didn't really reveal anything about him or her. So today we're going to dive back into some really old comments, ideas, and all sorts of stuff to see if we can maybe make a cohesive theory for what the new Assassin Champion could be, and if we can reveal any new cool mechanics that might be attached to their kit. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button or let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for some more videos. So if we dive back actually a couple years ago, we can find a thread from one of my favorite Riot champion designers, Riot August. More interestingly, someone asked him at the time if there was ever a design they decided to never share with fellow designers. So Riot August's response was actually based around an assassin kit with the unique ability to steal other champions' stats for a temporary amount of time. He would do stuff like dash through you, stealing your movement speed, or maybe use the ultimate to steal attack damage or ability power before then using it to kill you with it. Interestingly enough though, Riot August rejoining the champion design team happened right around the same time of this new assassin character, which would have, in theory, started development a few months ago if they're kind of teasing it now. Now, is this a coincidence? Well, that's up for you to decide. Now, with the new champion release of Sylas, Riot is definitely starting to explore this whole concept of a character taking stats from someone. And Sylas does probably show that if you're going to take something from an enemy champion, you can't make it so that they also have the thing removed from them. For example, a character design where you're taking stats from an opponent probably isn't going to work if you're both gaining the stats and actually removing it from the enemy. It'd probably be likely for Riot to take influence from August's design, but not completely use the entire concept. Maybe the new Assassin Champion could have an ultimate or just an ability that steals one certain stat, like maybe their highest stat or something like that, and transfers it into some kind of damage thing or something like that. Maybe they steal their attack damage or ability power. And this is a concept that I think could maybe work, and it does play straight into the other thing I wanted to mention. So when it comes to designing champions, they want their new champions to fulfill a role in the game, like a position or character type that hasn't been given a new character in a very long time. For example, with the support sort of enchanter champion, they specifically mentioned that there hasn't been a caster-based support champion since the release of Nami. Well, believe it or not, Nami's release was back in 2012, and based on that concept, we can make a lot of predictions for this assassin champion as well. So probably the most likely possibility for this new assassin champion is actually them being a traditional melee attack damage assassin. It's actually quite likely because the last release of a character like that, I believe, is Zed, which goes back to 2012, just around the release of Nami. And if we're going by the book here with Riot's own philosophy, with a character that fulfills the playstyle similar to Zed, it does kind of line up perfectly against how they explain the new support character with Nami. But that's a little bit tricky because we have had quite a few champions that are maybe arguably kind of attack damage assassins, sort of. Champions like Kayn maybe, and there's been some reworks too. But I think all the champions that have been released since Zed that kind of can play as a melee attack damage assassin They're all kind of fighter champions, semi-fighters, some are designed around more sustained damage, some burst, and due to this kind of past history and Riot's design philosophy for new champions, if I had to guess, I'd say this is probably the safest type of prediction for what the new assassin champion is going to be when they are released. Now, the prediction of a melee attack damage based assassin does line up quite nicely with the concept of a character that would steal stats from an enemy. If a champion were to jump in, steal a champion's stats, and then burst them down with it before getting out, it's definitely going to have to be a character that is a melee attack damage based assassin for that type of style to work. I think any other concept, it would probably just be way too broken. However, there's another concept I think might happen. Now, I don't think this is particularly likely, but I do think it's fun to explore, and it is a decent chance that could happen. Now, this design probably wouldn't work with the concept of a character that steals stats, but one thing Riot also tries to do with new champions is essentially design characters for new positions or new roles that haven't previously existed in the game, because in a sense it kind of accomplishes the same thing that they're trying to do when they release a character for a role that hasn't had a new character in, 6 years. And a great example of this is Pyke, where they released a support assassin champion. It's a support assassin, kind of creates a new playstyle just by having this character added into the game. And essentially now the only position left in the game that doesn't have an assassin champion that was specifically designed for it is, of course, the AD carry or like bottom lane carry role. And I would say there's a decent amount of potential for Riot to want to kind of shift things up a bit and maybe release like a ranged AD carry assassin, or perhaps some kind of melee AD assassin that functions as a duo laner, or perhaps maybe they're an AP based assassin or something like that. Some kind of assassin that's meant to be played in the bottom lane carry role. This would definitely be a great way for Riot to introduce sort of like that new unique character, that new playstyle, and at the same time allow them to release a character that, well, hasn't had a new release in a very long time because it's never happened before. And it would definitely be a very challenging concept to design for, which is why I think them releasing more of just the true melee AD assassin, the closest thing we have to maybe a bottom lane carry assassin character is maybe like Twitch or Quinn, I guess. I think for an actual ranged AD carry assassin playstyle, it would probably be just a little bit too overpowered for them to fulfill a traditional AD carry role at the same time, because you'd essentially just be giving a normal AD carry a bunch of extra burst damage and mobility, which is essentially what assassins are defined by. And that's a type of character that would probably become way too overpowered, since them being a ranged AD carry means they also have an extremely high amount of reliable sustained ranged damage. So I think if they were going to do that sort of new unique concept, it would definitely have to be an assassin that's just intended for the bot lane carry role and still probably a melee character. Now, on the other note, we can talk a little bit about them releasing a new AP assassin. It has technically still been quite a while, but with some of the more recent reworks, such as with Akali, as well as kind of just a whole bunch of new releases for new burst mage champions in general, Zoe, Nico, and especially the Akali rework is really an AP assassin that's a new release. I would say that the next new assassin champion being an AP based champion is definitely unlikely. Riot definitely tries to steer away from repeating recent releases, and ability power burst champions have been pretty prevalent over the last year, even if they weren't true assassins. But at the same time, there was still Akali's rework too, which is definitely a true assassin. Based on Riot's previously mentioned design philosophy, it's definitely way more likely for it to be an attack damage assassin character. Anyway, those are just some kind of random opinions, thoughts, and I guess my theory on what the new upcoming assassin champion is going to be like. Regardless of what happens, it's definitely really exciting when a new champion is teased or announced. Always kind of cool to just take a look at. The hype and thrill of hunting down all the information that you can maybe find. There's a lot of like random Riot comments and posts and stuff from forums like years ago that if you dig up, you can actually find a lot of really cool, interesting stuff. So I'll definitely be sure to keep an eye out for anything Riot happens to mention to hopefully maybe add some new bits and pieces of information for some of the upcoming champions. And as we wrap things up, I just wanted to give a special thanks to our sponsor, Privacy.com. Privacy makes it so that purchasing online is super simple and super fast. You actually can create a virtual card with just one click or by using their browser extension. With just one click, you can autofill your dynamic purchase info into the checkout form to make online purchases faster, easier, and much more secure than using your own credit card on websites. And it's 100% free. And since they help you use virtual cards for your purchases instead of your own credit card information, you won't have to worry about forgetting to cancel a subscription from a free trial, or perhaps being billed without your consent from random websites online, or just giving out your information to sketchy websites in general. As for privacy.com, their security is top-notch. It's upheld to actually the same standards as your bank, and they use military-grade encryption to hold any and all sensitive information. And the best part is it's completely free to use. If you sign up at the link in the description, you'll get $5 from them to spend on your first online purchase. Since it can be used for really any online purchase, that's literally $5 for free. Go to privacy.com/Gaming Curios or use the link in the description and sign up today. And just a big thanks to them for sponsoring our videos. It's a great product that I've been using myself, so I'm really happy to have the opportunity to promote them. So with that all being said, that's just about all we've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe for more in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.